What a beautiful sight. One of the most famous half miles in all of racing. It's Eldora, and we're here for the NASCAR Camping World Truck Series qualifying races. Qualified earlier this afternoon. Ben Rhodes was the fastest qualifier, and the qualifying results set the lineups for our 5 qualifying races. And each qualifying race will be 10 laps each. Only the green flag laps count. And the top 5 from each race will move right to the feature, and those that don't transfer will have to go through the last chance race and hope to make it in that way. 32 will start the show later tonight here at Eldora. Well, they're working the track and trying to get it ready. We are close, but let's get an update. Go downstairs to Kenny Wallace.
Thanks, Vince. As all the dirt racing people throughout the United States know, dirt doesn't really work good in the daytime. 80, 90-degree heat, and the sun dries the track out a lot. So Tony Stewart said, look, we need to rework this track, make it better for these truck racers. So check it out. Huge tractor. But what piece of equipment did Tony Stewart use to cut this track up? Man, I've got a great cameraman. I'm going to nickname this the Razor Blade Machine. Now, I'm sure there's some dirt racer in Farmer City, Illinois, telling me what it is, but Tony Stewart used this. He cut up the track. He did not dig it up. This Razor Blade machine cut it all up a little bit. He misted it with water, and right now on the racetrack, they're packing it in. And I really believe that this is going to open up the grooves and make for an incredible 5 heat or qualifying races, as we call it. Christopher, what's the track looking like, buddy?
Well, Kenny, as you see, they are finishing packing here. I'm at the middle of the back straightaway, and looks like they're getting pretty close. I think this thing's going to have a lot of grip here early, especially the first couple of laps of this first qualifying race, but not sure how long it's going to stay. You can see it's already starting to change a little bit of color, so I wouldn't be surprised if it goes slick pretty fast. Back to you, Hermie.
Logan Seavey, you're in race number 2. I see one thing about dirt racing, everybody's always watching the racetrack. So what do you see, and what do you think the track will be like when you go out for the second heat qualifying race?
Yeah, like you said, everybody's watching the racetrack because you just never know how quick it's going to change on you. Right now it's really, really wet, pretty greasy. You know, that just tends to make the trucks push real bad. They're already pretty tight out there, and then when you put a lot of water on the track, it makes it a little worse. So, you know, we're just going to watch the first one, see what lanes come in, and, you know, hopefully make the right lane choice on the start and go from there. Mostly just watch the first race and, you know, see how the grease flows off, and if it dries back out pretty quick or if the moisture stays in the racetrack will be the deciding factor on what line I choose to run.
Logan Seavey, he was second fastest in qualifying, so he'll lead us to the green for the second qualifying race, Vince.
Thank you, Hermie. And upstairs here, along with Michael Waltrip and 2016 Eldora winner Kyle Larson. What do you, when you look at the racetrack, the amount of moisture that they're putting on, from a driver's perspective, how much moisture do you want to see them, how much water do you want to see them put down that's going to impact the racing in a positive way the most?
Well, you know, I don't know. You know, we had qualifying out here, and it was really slick. Had the street stock race out there, extremely dusty. So they, you know, tilled the track up here, put some moisture in it. You know, you don't know how deep it went. You know, we're up here in the booth. You don't know how deep they cut into it, so you don't know how far down the moisture goes. But, you know, that's something all these drivers will be paying attention to. You know, you see them all standing here on the fence, you know, checking the track out. They're all really, you know, Logan mentioned it, you know, pay attention to that first heat race, kind of see how the line, you know, the line changes throughout the race. You know, cool thing with Eldora, it changes lap by lap. So I'll be interested to see how it, you know, works out here. But I would assume, you know, you just momentum it kind of around the top here for a little while. You know, inch your way up to the top, and then as that, you know, starts to slick back up, you know, probably migrate your way back down to the bottom too. So that's the fun part about dirt racing. It's always changing. You always got to stay on top of your game and keep focused on what it's doing.
You know what I loved? I was down talking to Stewart Friesen earlier in the day. It was like 2 in the afternoon, Vince. I said, what are you going to do all afternoon? He said, watch this track. Dirt racers, like Kyle said, every moment of the day they wonder what the truck's doing. And then they get thrown a curveball. I didn't think anybody believed they were going to do much cutting up of the racetrack or re-watering it. But we saw this place dust up, and Tony and the gang said, we got to get on this track. And so all they watched and all they learned all afternoon, it's all going to be changing now, and it'd be interesting to see what direction this track goes.
Well, the number of times it changes from when that first qualifier rolled out until the checkered flag falls tonight. It'll be a lot of change. Who's going to keep up with it? We're about to find out. Good crowd on hand and a beautiful afternoon and evening here at Eldora, and the fans still coming in. Going to have a good one in the grandstands and on the hill tonight. One of the few places around America that you can go to the concession stand with $5, get a hot dog and a beer, and change as well. Nice to walk away with a little change after putting just a $5 bill on the counter. We're looking forward to these qualifying races, and they should get underway here in just a couple of minutes. In the meantime, let's check in with Hermie.
Well, thank you, Vince. This is another moment when I know I'm getting old. I get to interview the son of someone I raced against a long time ago, Mike Mclaughlin. This is Max Mclaughlin. Good to have you here in the Truck Series. How's your day been going so far at Eldora?
It's kind of luck of the draw here in qualifying. You know, the track was a lot slicker than everybody else expected, and we had to go out one of the last cars on the track, and there wasn't really much left. So we still got to 22nd, which is all in all not too bad since we went out 34th. But I think we got a pretty strong truck when the track gets slick, but they put quite a bit of water down, so we're all gonna have to start all over and see what we can do.
You watching the track just like every other driver that's lining up tonight. What do you see and what do you expect when you go out?
There's definitely going to be a lot more grip. I think it's still very hard underneath, but the moisture that they did put down is going to give us a lot more grip out there. So I think there's going to be a lot more racing in the heat races for sure, and I think there's going to be a lot of guessing because a lot of people don't know what their truck's going to do at this point because we all kind of set up our trucks in that second practice to gear towards a slicker racetrack. So it's going to be a lot different racing out here tonight, but I know I'm looking forward to it.
Well, good luck.
Thank you.
We saw the trucks running around the track. We call it wheel packing, but for those that aren't familiar with the dirt game, as you see Tony Stewart out there working, what are they trying to do to the track when they do that?
Well, I think there was a couple areas, maybe through 1 and 2, that were a little too wet, a little greasy, as we call it. Just water kind of sitting on top of the surface. So they're out there trying to, pack it in, roll it, into the surface, get the track a little harder, and if the trucks go in there and their front tires go across the grip, it could be dangerous. So they're just trying to give these drivers as good of a track as they can, and I think we're getting ready here to go heat racing and see some good racing too.
Vince, you like Tony Stewart, too, the head greenskeeper at Augusta National. When we go to Augusta in April, that place is pristine, it's beautiful, and the greenskeepers are thinking about every tiny detail they can to make sure the track is that track in Augusta is perfect. Same thing for Tony here, constantly observing it. He's in charge. He's calling the shots. He's saying we're going to cut it up. We're going to add water. Obviously getting input from the drivers and competitors, but this is a huge part of dirt racing, and it's a huge part of Tony's passion for this track and this event. He wants to make sure it's perfect, and he's not going to quit until it is.
Yeah, and Tony, like you mentioned, Tony takes this track prep stuff extremely serious. He's got a notebook of notes of every event that he's done track prep for, and I'm pretty sure he keeps track of the humidity, the temperature, everything about it, because all that stuff factors into how much water they need to put on the track, what they need to do to prep it. So he's one of the best preppers out there, and that was a great way of putting it with Augusta there. So he does an amazing job, and that's why he's always got a great racetrack for us to race on.
Aerial coverage tonight for the Dirt Derby provided by Jegs.
And what great views too, Vince. Look at the trucks staged down in the infield, the huge crowd up on the hill, the packed grandstands. This is an event that is just perfect for NASCAR Camping World Truck Series racing here on a Wednesday night, and I'm so thankful FS1 is here to bring everybody all the action.
5 qualifying races, and here is the lineup for qualifying race number 1. And remember, the top 5 and automatically advance to the main show later tonight. And these qualifying lineups are established by how these drivers qualified during their individual qualifying runs earlier today. And Ben Rhodes was the fastest, so he will start on pole for qualifying race number 1.
And we talked about how big of an event this is, Kyle. Some of those guys that are back outside the top 5 and they don't have any points to fall back on. They know they're going to have another chance in the LCQ, the last chance qualifier. But this heat, this qualifying race means the world to them right now.
Yeah, you know, I mean, there's a lot of these teams where, you know, the heat race might not mean as much to them, you know, because, you know, it's a long race later on, but, and they know that they can transfer in. But as you mentioned, you know, there's those teams that this is a big opportunity right here. You know, there's not a whole lot of laps, but there's a lot of positions to be gained to put them in the big show, to give their sponsors some recognition on TV later. So you look for those guys to be really aggressive here in these heats.
So I'm down here on the middle of the back straightaway, and as you can see, when the cars come by and goose it up a little bit, the bottom of the back straightaway seems to be really dry and it's changing color really fast. But up towards the wall, it looks like it's throwing a little bit more mud and maybe a little bit wetter on the top side of the straightaway. So that'll be interesting to see how that develops through these heat races.
Well, no doubt the drivers that are not in this first heat race or this first qualifying race are certainly taking a close look, and will be keeping an eye on how the track changes, and it will continue to change throughout these qualifying races. The conditions we have here in qualifying race number 1, in all likelihood, will be quite different by the time the 5th qualifier rolls.
Ben Rhodes takes the outside, Vince. Rhodes
And Sheldon Creed. That's Sheldon Creed in the white 99. He's the ARCA points leader, and boy, he jumped out to a...
Sheldon Creed will be getting posted for that right there. It was a big jump there. Track looks a little greasy there in the one. You know, the Ben Rhodes and John Hunter both, you know, went up there and washed up the track. Both got kind of into the wall. We got a spinner here in the 3.
That's the 33 of Braden Mitchell.
NASCAR will see if Braden can get going again before they throw that caution flag, and he's stuck down on the bottom down there, as you can see. He gets it cranked up now, but the caution will fly. Be interesting to see what NASCAR decides on the 99. Ben Rhodes was the control truck. I know he was on the outside, but he was supposed to bring them to green. Clearly he didn't.
Yeah, let's take a look at this start, and remember the 41, the green 41 is the control truck.
Yeah, and you know, he's a control truck, and right here you can see Sheldon's kind of trying to anticipate it, and Ben also sees that, and he just lags back and waits for the green. And so yeah, I don't really know what NASCAR's going to do here, but looked pretty bad. But like, you know, right there you can see Ben go in and wipe out and get in the wall. Wow, there's a lot of mud out there. John Hunter's having a tough time seeing where he's going right now.
Look at the damage already on the side of that A truck. You talked about him packing her into the wall, and we're getting word from NASCAR that Sheldon Creed will indeed be put to the rear of the field for jumping the original start. And Kyle, doesn't that just, wow, look at that mess. Doesn't that just tell you sort of who Sheldon Creed is? He's going to be on the gas from the word go.
Yeah, you know, he's he always does a good job here at Eldora, and you know, I'm not really sure how much experience he has on restarts here in NASCAR, but it's a little different than, you know, the dirt stuff. You know, there's no, the leader is the control car in a typical dirt race, but you're allowed to beat the leader to the start finish line. So that's something for these dirt regulars that, you know, this is their first NASCAR race, that they got to be conscious of on their, you know, if they were to start on the front rows, to not beat the leader to the line.
Quickly check in with Hermie.
Welcome back to Chase Briscoe. You go out in qualifying race number 3. What are you seeing from the racetrack so far?
Yeah, you know, Tony did a really good job of bringing it back there at the end of qualifying. It was pretty dried off, and it's a little greasy right now, but I think we're going to get back to probably there. It's just so hard to bring a racetrack back when it's that hard and dry, but Tony will do an awesome job getting it back, and just excited to be back in the Truck Series. This is probably my favorite race, and just thankful that Ford's let me do it. So looking forward to it and see what we can do in the heat race.
Vince?
Going to restart this one with Austin Self on the inside, Justin Shipley on the outside. Remember, 10 laps and only the green laps count. Top 5 go straight to the feature.
Sheldon Creed in that 99 already 3 wide on the top of the road. He knows he's got to make up that ground he lost in the original start. Doing a nice job too. Already got 4 trucks back there.
Here's Rhodes looking inside of Shipley. And the 99 of Creed is already working on the outside of Ben Rhodes.
Whoa, that was a good decision there to back off the gas by the 99 of Creed, because Rhodes came up the track.
Sheldon Creed's got a really good truck right here. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if he drives this thing back to the lead. He's doing a really good job up top.
Wow, Austin Hill in the 0-2. John Hunter Nemechek. There's Creed getting into the back end of Nemechek.
And he kept part of his truck with him. Vince. You could see the tail section. Or some.
I think John Hunter might have an issue from that first lap there getting to the wall. It doesn't seem like his truck's turning quite as good as what he'd hope it would. Might have some toe issues and definitely struggling out there.
Creed in the 4th spot, but there's Austin Wayne Self in the 22. Ben Rhodes, last week's winner at Kentucky, coming around for the lead.
How about 3 wide for the lead off turn 4? We're already getting with it, and these are just qualifying races.
Yeah, this is where you see these guys just trying to figure out the racetrack. You know, with the track prep that they did there after qualifying, they're still just trying to figure out what the best line is around here. You can see they start out on the bottom, and Sheldon Creed was able to show Ben Rhodes that the top was racy. Now they're all kind of migrating back to the top side.
What a battle for 5th. Remember, that's the transfer spot with John Hunter Nemechek in that beat-up 8 truck already. Braden Mitchell, the 33, the 0-2 of Austin Hill in there.
What about Mitchell? He spun on the first lap, and he's been able to battle his way back into a position to be in the Dirt Derby later tonight.
Mitchell was in that 5th spot, the 33 truck. You see on our pylon on the left, if you're highlighted in yellow, or if you've got there's a caution out.
The 0 truck of Cicerelli spun down in turn 3 and 4. He went all the way to the bottom of the racetrack. You can see him there. He's just going to say that's enough. Probably can't see where he's going, Kyle.
Yeah, you know, here it's a little greasy there the first couple laps, and to be a guy like John Hunter, you know, your truck's not driving great, and you can't hardly see out your windshield. So he's got his hands full, as well as the rest of these guys I can't see.
If you lost your bumper, John Hunter Nemechek, I think I know where it's at.
Here's why the 99 of Creed has some of the 8 truck. He
That's
just
crazy.
ran into the back of it.
That is so cool. Full contact racing here at Eldora. Just looked like the truck of Nemechek went straight, pushed when he got to the corner, and Sheldon had a lot of speed, ran right in the back of him.
Yeah, not sure if John Hunter's just got it set up, you know, for a slick condition, but man, it looks like he's got quite a bit of right front damage.
Cicerelli, who brought out the yellow, has gone to the back of the field for this restart.
So another unique thing about racing here at Eldora is that the speeds are down, so the aero deficiencies of a damaged truck is not near as bad. So that makes it another advantage of running right up next to the wall. You can hit it a little bit, damage your truck, and or in this case, carry someone's bumper cover on the front of it and be okay.
So the front 2 are just like they were when we started this race. Sheldon Creed on the inside, Ben Rhodes on the outside. Remember, Creed jumped the start and had to go to the tail. Well, now he's back, and we'll see how he handles this restart.
Let's try it again, Ben.
I say be a little cautious this time, but at least this time he can beat him to the line. He just can't beat him out of the zone.
Slides up a bit.
4 to go.
Sheldon Creed's strong around the bottom here.
I'm going to say something crazy, Kyle, but this is just a qualifying race. Either one of those positions gets Creed in. Would it be better for him to maybe give like 90% here?
And Ben Rhodes, he looks like he might be overheating. I think he's pushing a little water out there. Yeah, he definitely is. Hopefully he can make it here with 3 to go.
Creed's not going to back off, is he?
Wow, this is a hell of a race right here.
Side by side for the lead with 3 to go. This is just the first qualifier. Just getting started.
So show you what a little bit of moisture in the track will do for you. It gives you a lot of options and produces some great racing.
This is the battle for the transfer spot. John Hunter, even though he's got that damage you talked of, he's currently 5th, racing there with Shipley. And Mitchell gets into the back of John Hunter.
Mitchell to the bottom now, and Austin Hill trying to get around the top. Top 5 advance. Final lap for Ben Rhodes, who won his qualifying lap a couple of years ago, or qualifying race a couple of years ago. Going to do it again
Big
tonight
battle for the transfer.
For the transfer spot, and it's going to be Nemechek.
Wow.
Great effort.
They didn't even make
Mitchell.
it. Either of them didn't make it.
So Austin Hill ended up getting through there.
Wow.
Those two are having a disagreement, Vince.
Everybody's blowing. Everybody's running hot here.
John Hunter got moved out of the way by the 33 truck.
These are the three fighting for that final transfer spot.
There goes the move by the 33 to get John Hunter out of the way. That's hard racing, right?
I think that was the second time he got into him, so I think John Hunter's a little fed up here, probably down the backstretch and into the 3 and going for the transfer spot. So
there you have it.
Man, he used his. That was a little retro Norm Benning there, I think.
Used him up, and Austin Hill come right underneath the bottom to get that final spot.
Austin Hill said, heck yeah, y'all have at it.
Hey, that's just the first one. We've got 4 more to go. Don't go anywhere. Back to Eldora. Tip the cap to Earl Baltus. Built Eldora back in the early 1950s. Ran this place for about 50 years, and then Tony Stewart purchased the track in 2004. It's a beauty. Downstairs to Christopher Bell.
Well, I'm here with qualifying race winner number 1, Ben Rhodes. Ben, I remember watching you run here a couple years ago whenever the track was really wet, and you got that cushion going really good a couple years ago. Track was pretty wet there, and you looked like you were going pretty good. What do you?
Just worried about blowing the motor, really. It was 280 at one point, and then we got jumped on the start by the 99, just kind of lagging back, and then all of a sudden he went. So that was a little crazy. Just interesting when you run against people that aren't, normally in the truck series at times. Just super slick track. I think it was a little wet to start. So we'll see how it is here in the race. Totally different conditions.
Awesome job so far.
Austin, as you were coming to the checkered flag, you were not going to make the race. Tell me what happened as you go into turn 3 and make it.
Well, coming off of turn 2, I saw that they were beating and banging. I figured the only chance I had was to go low and just pray that they got into each other, which they did. We didn't have much grip out there, but we held on, I'm not really a dirt racer, so I'm excited to be in it.
You look like one. Hey, buddy, take a look at this. 265 degrees on the water. This is called outerwear. This is going to help save a motor. So 265 degrees.
Well, you see all that mud on the front of the trucks, and did they just collect it all in that first qualifying race, so the track should be a little better in this one?
Yeah, I think they got most of that from the first few laps of that race, and then it already looks like it's slicking up quite a bit. So I think those overheating issues are probably through with until maybe they do some track prep before the feature later on.
Getting ready to start this second qualifying race. You see Logan Seavey and Todd Gilliland in the front row. A couple of drivers out of the Kyle Busch Motorsports stable. Seavey, 21 years old, currently the USAC National Midgets points leader. He's in that 51 truck. Looked good in qualifying, had the second fastest qualifying time, and he is off and running. Gilliland not familiar or comfortable with the dirt, doesn't run at all on dirt tracks, but he has been solid so far through a couple of practices yesterday and what we've seen of him today.
Said he and his dad took a late model up to a dirt track in Virginia, just practiced this week, trying to get a feel for it. Both of them had good speed, and one of them crashed, and I don't think it was Todd. Nice move down low by Otto there, wasn't it, Vince?
Yep.
Slipped to the inside.
The top 5 advance from the heat race, and you see Tanner Thorson in that 20 that struggled in qualifying.
Yeah, Tanner Thorson, a great dirt open wheel driver. Didn't qualify good at all there. Kind of missed his line, I felt like, in qualifying, running the top. I didn't think the top was the place to be, but truck looks like it's definitely still struggling. He looks like he's lacking a lot of grip out there, really loose. Truck looks like it's kind of riding a little high and soft also. So surprised he's not moving forward. I really thought with a bad qualifying effort and then them re-prepping the track, he'd be able to cruise right to the front, but he's definitely struggling.
What? Ty Dillon in the 12 truck, right behind Dalton Sargent in the 25.
He's bouncing that thing all over the road, isn't he? Looks like the shocks are really soft. Look at that left front, way up off the ground. That's awesome. That's racing for the transfer spot. Dalton Sargent has it. Ty Dillon in the 12 with his left front all the way up off the road.
That's an awesome picture right there.
Great camera work, guys. That's beautiful. But look who's creeping into the picture. Otto in the 97, and then just behind him, Thorson, you talked about is struggling, but that transfer spot is right there.
Yeah, this race isn't over yet with 5 to go. You know, these guys get running hard here. If they can just get up to the 25 and get him battling them, you know, it might open the door for the rest of these guys to sneak into a transfer like we saw in the last heat.
That's RJ Otto in the 97 that keeps taking a look underneath Ty Dillon. Tanner Thorson trying to get in the mix, and then Thorson goes around. He talked about the handle not being to his liking, and he has now spun now in qualifying and in the qualifying race.
This might not be, you know, him spinning out might not be too bad of a deal. You know, it'll open up an opportunity for him to get take a deep breath, get the field bunched up, and get racing again. You know, get those guys battling for a transfer, and maybe get to beating and banging, and we'll see something happen here. The transfer is not set yet.
And could Todd Dillon go faster if he had all 4 wheels on the ground, or is that okay?
I don't know. You know, it's tough to say, but that's the fun thing about dirt racing is there's so many different setups and stuff that people run to try and get grip, and he's definitely got a unique one here for Eldora. It's not something you typically see at a truck race here, but he's got that left front way off the ground. It makes for cool pictures, that's for sure.
They'll line them up, and we'll restart momentarily, but quickly check in with Hermie.
Well, Vince, this is Stewart Friesen, the 52. You go out in the last qualifier. This is so much fun to watch. I can only imagine how much fun it is to drive. What are you seeing from the racetrack, and what kind of race do you expect you guys will have by the time you go out?
Well, it's drying out pretty quick right now. You know, by the time we get out to the 5th heat, I don't think it's going to be as bad as it was during time trials as far as slickness. It looks like it's going to have some pretty good bite up on the top, and a little bit slicker. It's drying out almost by the lap right now. So just trying to watch and see who's running where, and you know, the guys in the middle that are looking pretty good. Watching Ty Dillon carry that left front was pretty wild. But my buddy Max is running good here, running 4th, and Dalton's doing a good job. So it's fun to watch.
Let's do it, Friesen. Back to you, Vince.
Getting ready for this restart. Logan Seavey on the inside in that 51. In 2016, Seavey had open heart surgery and a congenital heart defect. And 3 months later, he was racing at the Chili Bowl. I mean, this is a great story. A terrifically talented young man from your neck of the woods of Northern California.
Yeah, I mean, I've known Logan since he was probably 5 years old. You know, we grew up racing cycling and Reb Luff together, and he's definitely one of the best, if not the best, in the outlaw karts right now. When he does even go race, he's made a name for himself. Got picked up by Keith Coons, and your current USAC national midget point leader. So he's a hell of a shoe.
And he's back in front with Todd Gilliland in that 4 truck. His teammate from Kyle Busch Motorsports slipping into the 2nd spot. Brett Moffitt in 3rd.
Todd Gilliland's really impressing me here in this heat race. You know, I kind of figured Logan would check out with all the experience he has dirt racing, but looks like he's gonna get challenged for lead here, and maybe wind up running 2nd in this thing.
How about Gilliland around the outside? Gilliland on the high side, Seavey down low.
Wow, you talked about the transfer spot not being safe. They're battling for it, and they're battling for the lead. Looks like Gilliland's got a nice run on the high side.
Yeah, Gilliland is just able to carry that momentum, use the banking a little bit. Logan kind of got trapped around the bottom there, being a little too patient, and you know, Gilliland's taking advantage of that.
Final lap, Gilliland in the lead. Ty Dillon currently in the transfer spot. For the win in qualifying race number 2, it's going to be Todd Gilliland. Logan Seavey 2nd. Moffitt, Max Mclaughlin, and Ty Dillon.
That was a costly restart for Dalton Sargent. He was running in the 5th position. Looked like he had a pretty good hold on it, and slid back outside the transfer spots.
So Todd Gilliland joins Ben Rhodes as qualifying race winners. Ty Dillon using 3 of the 4 tires. More to come from Eldora. NASCAR Camping World Truck Series qualifying races from Eldora. They're lined up getting ready for qualifier number 3. We check in with Christopher.
Well, we're down here with qualifying race number 2 winner Todd. I don't think you claim to be a dirt veteran, but you sure look like one out there. Are you having any fun?
Yes, I'm having so much fun. You know, I guess that's what it's all about. Now we got ourselves a good starting spot for the race, and you know, I'm definitely not the best, but I feel like my truck is one of the best. So, you know, if I just keep working on it, you know, getting it to turn with the throttle, feeling the right rear tire more and more every lap, you know, that's what it's going to be about in tonight's race. And you know, we'll see how we end up. But I'm really proud of everyone so far at Kyle Busch Motorsports, and hopefully we can put this JBL Sirius XM Toyota Tundra up front.
Well, you're looking great. See you, Kenny.
Ty, you did not have a provisional. You had to finish in the top 5. Tell me about that move to put yourself in the race.
Yeah, my crew chief buddy, he just made it back from the hospital, and we want to get this K&L car in the race. So just had to, he said, give it all you got. So we gave her hell there. Our truck's obviously not handling as good as we want to.
You were the show, carrying the left front wheel. Did you know you had the left front wheel 1 foot off the ground?
I could feel it. I just knew I had to go with the bite that I had and make it work. So hope you guys enjoyed it. We're going to give it hell for the rest of the night, and hope it'll be a crowd pleaser.
That is a picture right there, Vince.
Enjoying it indeed. Getting ready for the third qualifier.
Let's give him 2 feet on that left front tire. What do you think?
A couple of teammates from Gilliland Crosley up front. Tyler Dipple, the youngster, runs in the K&N East Series, and Chris Wyndham from the USAC ranks.
Big Daddy.
Noah Gregson, Chase Briscoe, last year's most popular driver in the Truck Series, won the season finale at Homestead.
Got some dirt racers in this baby. Welcome back to Chase Briscoe and Big Daddy on the front row. Chris Wyndham in that truck. Everybody said yesterday after practice it was one of the fastest ones here in the 54.
Going backwards already, but yeah, I talked to Chris a little bit this morning, and he said you know, he really liked how his truck handled there in practice when it got slick. He felt like he had better drive off the corner than most people. So as his track slickens up throughout the night, look for him to be one to contend.
Chase Briscoe on the march right out of the gate in that 27.
It's got to be a bit of a difficult balance, huh, Kyle? Having a truck that'll handle well under these conditions and then capable of adjusting and adapting and running well tonight when it gets dark.
Yeah, there's not a whole lot of adjustment you can do to these things, in between your heat race. Oh, wow. Your teammates getting together and open the door for Chase Briscoe to get around both. But Chase is being really aggressive here, and Chris is trying to not lose too much ground to start further back in the feature here. But really, really good racing right now. The track's in great shape.
Dipple in the 17.
As a former team owner, Vince, I know how tough it is when your vehicles run into each other. Bo Mastis is over in Asia somewhere, but David Gilliland is down there on a pit box. That's the co-owners of this team. That's tense times when you're that guy.
Chase Briscoe likes to see him battling because that just opens the lead for him to an even larger amount. And now Noah Gregson starting to make a move that could end up challenging Dipple for third.
How about Norm Benning?
Norm Benning in a transfer. He's gonna get to fourth right here. This is a great run for him.
He passed Noah Gregson, put Norm up into the 4th spot.
There's the 63 of Kyle Strickler.
Norm stars here at Eldora, doesn't he? A couple years back, making the bold move to grab that last transfer spot. And I'm telling you, Kyle, if he's able to get this position and transfer into the main event tonight, he's going to be the happiest guy in Ohio. But still a lot of work to do.
I've always felt like Norm Benning's had one of the best driving trucks out there. The years that I've came here, his truck always looks really stable and a lot of grip. So he's doing a great job with it. Starting deep the field, passing a few trucks here to get to the top 4. This is like I said, this is an awesome run for him. I'm really cheering for him.
There's yellow icons, of course, representing that the drivers advance direct to the main. The top 5 advance, and then those with the red icon, they'll have to go through the last chance race.
Strickler just needs to take a deep breath here and calm down a little bit. He's running his truck really sideways and killing a lot of his grip, especially down the straightaways here now on entry. And I feel like if he just gets his wheel spin underneath him, he might have a shot here to get by Noah.
And Norm's looking out the mirror and saying, no, don't do any of that stuff, Kyle said. Hang it out. Give it all you got. I need to get this spot. Gregson to the inside.
Strickler and Gregson with Benning, wow. And it's Gregson that gets squeezed out.
Holy cow, what great racing.
Benning holds on to 4th, Strickler into the transfer spot. And now he moves up the track.
Man, Strickler looks really loose here. I don't know if that's just him driving it that way or if his setup's just free right now, but I don't know how he's keeping that thing straight.
One more lap for Norm to hang on, and like you said, that 63 truck hung out.
Chase Briscoe didn't have any owner points to lean on from a provisional standpoint, needed to race his way in, and he does just that with the qualifying race win.
Vince, the crowd is on their feet cheering for the fourth place finisher, Norm Benning. He grabs that transfer spot. That is awesome.
And Noah Gregson to go through the last chance qualifier. And a little high five for Norm Benning. How about that?
There he is.
Norm's night. It's Eldora.
Got the sunglasses on too.
Always popular, Norm Benning. It's a little congratulations from the owner, track owner, Tony Stewart. Yeah, Benning makes the pass on Noah Gregson. Watch this as Gregson gets into the wall. Benning goes to the bottom, the inside of 18 Gregson for the transfer spot. And Norm Benning will move on to the big show. Kenny?
Unbelievable, Norm. I heard Kyle Larson say you had the best handling truck out there. Tony Stewart said you held it pretty well. How big is it for Tony Stewart to come up and congratulate you right away?
It means the world to me. We met a long time ago at Eldora.
Here at Eldora.
Well, here formerly, he about kissed me in my truck the first year, but we met at the dirt track there in Arca, DeCoin, I think it was. But anyway, when you get Kenny's attention, you're doing something. Yeah, that was just amazing. Zumongo and H&H Transport, they helped me, and man, if we had a major deal, we could do something.
You know what, Vince? They need to write a book, a short story about this man at Eldora. Your fame has been made at this racetrack.
Well, you know, at Daytona, not to change the subject, but I was 6th at Daytona. Fuel pump went bad, sitting 6th place.
All right, we got to go back to the booth. We'll drink some beer later tonight. Vince?
Lots of beer.
Lots of beer.
Right up there in the ballroom.
Yeah,
All right, I'll hold you up. Or you hold me up.
There are going to be a lot of lies told in that setting. I'm going to tell you that.
The best part of that whole thing, when he came across the checkered flag, the whole front grandstands stood up and cheered Norm.
Nobody here has forgotten what he did that first year getting the transfer spot. So it's, he's got the most fans here at Eldora.
Qualifying race number 4. A couple of ThorSport trucks on the front row. Enfinger and Crafton. Matt Crafton in that Neon 88, the winner of Eldora's Dirt Derby a year ago.
And Matt Crafton went out last in qualifying, Vince, and put in a top 10 time. So this is a good truck, and he had a nice run through 1 and 2 on the high side.
Cody Coughlin in the 2, trying to get down to the bottom. Coughlin struggled in qualifying. Currently rides 1 spot out of the transfer position as you ride with Matt Crafton and take a look back. There's Coughlin in the 2, Johnny Sauter in the 21. Trevor Collins is the 74.
Yeah, Trevor's driving for Mike Harmon. That 74 truck's got some nice speed to it. It's currently just 1 spot out of transferring. Be a big night for those guys, just like with Norm Benning, if Mike could get his truck in.
Justin Haley looking pretty racy right here. Working to get by Nick Hoffman around the bottom.
Nick Hoffman's such a good story. Owner of his family owns Millbridge, and Nick owns Elite Chassis. His chassis builder passed away when Nick was 18, and Nick bought up some of his stuff and said, I'll just build my own stuff. And for the time being, the first truck or the first car he built, brought it here to Eldora. 150 cars making the show or trying to make the show, and he not only made the show, he won, and all of a sudden then he had a successful chassis building company.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing for him, being as young as he is, to have a successful business like that, and extremely hard worker. He works really, really hard on building that to what it is, and he's a hell of a shoe too.
Kyle, we're seeing these trucks running a lot around the top of the track. I know that's the way Matt Crafton won this race a year ago. What do you think about seeing the groove migrate up to the top?
Well, yeah, it's still, it's changing, lap by lap. We've heard guys talk about it. It's getting slicker and slicker. You see them getting closer and closer to the wall. You'll see him start making mistakes here as it gets even closer. But Crafton's looking strong as well as his teammate behind him. I think Grant may be a little bit better. I think Matt's pacing himself pretty good here, though.
Well, you remember Crafton let Enfinger warm up in his late model a couple weeks ago, so he'd be ready to come. He'd be ready to come dirt racing, and it looks like those lessons that he learned practicing a couple weeks ago are paying off.
Remember, the top 5 move directly to the main feature later tonight. Johnny Sauter currently outside that group, and we saw Noah Gragson have to go through the last chance qualifier. Might that be the situation for Sauter?
It's looking like it, Vince, and it's not been a good trip to Eldora for Johnny. Not a lot of speed in practice yesterday, didn't qualify well. Now he's struggling in this qualifying race.
Grant Enfinger starting to close it up a little bit on Crafton, but this is the final lap. Matt Crafton, last year's Dirt Derby winner, hasn't won since, and he needs a win to clinch a spot into the playoffs. Enfinger diving to the bottom, wants to win this qualifying race, but it's not going to happen. It's going to be Matt Crafton.
Well, that was a race we could finally catch our breath in. They weren't 3 and 4 wide, bumping into each other, so Crafton did a nice job of stringing them out.
Cody Coughlin got the final transfer spot. That means Johnny Sauter will go through the last chance qualifier. So a couple of our championship contenders and favorites, Sauter and Noah Gragson, both going to go through the last chance qualifier tonight.
Yeah, and remember, Coughlin hit the wall qualifying, so he recovered nicely to get a top 5 finish here.
Matt Crafton adds his name to the list of qualifying race winners.
We are back at the legendary Eldora Speedway in Rossburg, Ohio, and he finally does it. Cody Coughlin, you finished 5th, and you made the race. But last year, you were all wrecked up at this time. Why are you so much better this year?
Well, I feel funny being happy about this, making the race. I've just been listening to you, I guess. I don't know, just been here a couple times now and just maybe figuring out a little bit.
Christopher?
Well, I'm down here with Matt. We're talking about the heat race win here. Grant was able to keep pace with you. Were you pacing yourself, or did you have any left?
I was definitely pacing myself, and there was no reason for us to keep racing. And I was thinking, Grant, don't do anything dumb here and try to slide me. I just needed to keep that pace, and I felt like I could have stayed out in front of him. I felt like I could have went faster if I needed to, but there's just nothing. Zero grip up top. There's no cushion like there was last night. So hopefully going to work this track over and make me have a little bit of a cushion so we can do a little better racing in the main.
10-4, back to the booth.
You agree with his thoughts on his observations of the track?
Hey, I always love a cushion, but I feel like the guys here at Eldora, they like it slick to the fence. So the more moisture, the better to me. But it to a certain extent, you can't have it where those guys in the first seat are overheating or not being able to see other windshield either. But it's a fine line. But if there's something to lean on, it always makes it fun and technical up there.
Here's our final qualifying race. Stewart Friesen and Ryan Newman, as you take a good look at the former Daytona 500 winner, and then also the visor cam of the 52 of Stewart Friesen.
That's as good as it gets right there for me. Kyle, that's exactly what it feels like to drive one of these things, isn't it?
Yeah, and it's something to watch here in this heat, with the couple visor cams we got in cars, is the sun gets extremely bad in 3 and 4 this time of day, especially with the dust. Them dealing with the dust through 3 and 4. It makes it tricky seeing the top. You're trying to run inches off the wall and try not to get in the wall. So the sun's an issue, but it's starting to set behind the grandstands, starting to get a little shade on the corners.
Bumper cam for the truck of Ryan Newman. Driving the Jordan Anderson owned machine here this week.
What about Jordan transferring into the ownership only role? Worked so hard to field that truck. Felt like it was a great opportunity for him to get some exposure for his small team. And Ryan Newman's running right on the bumper of the guy that I think everybody has sort of penciled in as a favorite for the Dirt Derby tonight. And that's Stewart Friesen in the 52.
Friesen led the most laps here last year, ended up runner-up, has yet to win in the Camping World Truck Series, and as Michael said, a lot of folks pinning their hopes on him tonight, and he is as well, to maybe get that first career win.
Ryan Newman's looking pretty strong here. I feel like being able to keep pace with Friesen as he is. We've all said Friesen's a favorite, and for him to be running off his back bumper, I think it really shows the strength in his truck.
Newman ran 3rd here the first year, the Dirt Derby.
I like the way he's able to tuck just a little bit lower than Friesen, and then Stewart, I think, saw that, went to the low side of the track.
John Provenzano, who drives the 03, has pulled off. Some smoke coming from his truck. Newman closing the gap on Friesen.
Looks like maybe Newman's truck's handle a little bit better than Friesen. And there you see Jeffrey Abbey. He's in the transfer spot. This would put him into this show. See how hard he's working that steering wheel. Just ahead of him, Myatt Snyder in the 13 had some contact with the outside wall.
Newman has really closed it up now on Stewart Friesen.
Newman's sort of known for being a bulldog behind the wheel. Doesn't matter if this is a qualifying race or the main event, he's going to get all he can.
Yeah, it looks like he's being pretty smart here, though. You know, you could take 5 transfer. You don't want to make any mistakes here, damage your truck before the feature, or lose any spots, too, because, you know, every spot kind of, you know, is 5 positions in the main event. So just doing all you can to maintain the top 2 spot here.
I'm counting, Kyle. I see more turns to the right than I do left, it seems. A lot of correcting that truck.
Yeah, that's the fun part about dirt. You know, you're always struggling for grip out there, and you're trying to just steer the truck around there, you know, as smoothly as you can. You can see he's a little off the cushion here and a little bit loose, especially loose on exit. That's where I felt like Newman's been able to make ground on him. But Stewart's been able to stretch it a little bit here the last few laps.
Final lap, there's Myatt Snyder in the 13, TJ Hefner, or J.R. Hefner in the 4. Or the 15, excuse me. Running 4th.
Here comes Friesen for the checker.
So Stewart Friesen wins qualifying race number 5. Friesen joins Crafton and Briscoe, Gilliland and Rhodes as qualifying race winners. And Jeffrey Abbey in that 34, the final truck to transfer. Fontaine and Provenzano will have to go through the last chance race. So Abbey's happy. He's going to pull it in with a smile. We'll come back, talk to the winner.